This week's video is for the leaders, managers, and bosses out there. I want to talk about increasing the health and well-being of your team. If you have a team, most of us want the best for them. We want them to feel healthy, happy, and overall just have a high sense of well-being. Not only because we're good people, but it also makes them better employees. So today we're going to talk about practical steps to increase the wellness of your team. Hi guys, I'm Nathan. I'm the founder of Direction Desk. I'm a Kokoro finisher, and I helped scale my parents' construction company from 3 million to 30 million just out of college. The reason I started this YouTube channel is honestly to share the things that I'm learning on my journey, the things that I'm passionate about. That is wellness tips for professionals, some general business advice, some general fitness advice, and things like that. So I think the first most critical point in increasing the well-being of your team is to make it part of the culture. That sounds like really high level. I'm gonna give you some practicality on it, but let me just share a story of how impactful it is when it actually becomes part of the culture and what that looks like. When I was working for my parents' construction company, my dad geniusly enacted this thing where every Monday in our Monday meeting, we had to share one positive that we had from the week before. It could be personal, it could be professional, it just had to be positive. We had all sorts of things, like maybe someone won a contract in business, maybe someone reached some new health goal. There was also sometimes when people were just happy to be alive. Like, I'm not naive, no one's naive. We know things are not always going great, but the magic happens when things aren't going great and we could still find that one thing that we're grateful for. The reason this was so powerful, and I saw it firsthand, is everyone had to practice gratitude on a weekly basis. And we know from research that if you're grateful, you're gonna have less anxiety, less stress, and you're gonna have better overall wellness. And we made it mandatory that everyone started practicing gratefulness, and it had huge impacts. You could tell in the culture, it's a noticeable difference. Another thing that started happening in these meetings that I thought was really cool is a few of us were into fitness. So often we'd come with our Monday positive being fitness related, like, hey, I ran my first 6 miles, I ran my first 8 miles, something like that. And what's curious is it has a really infectious aspect to it. Like, we started coming with fitness goals and people were inspired and started coming with their own fitness goals. And really, like, we saw the entire health of the organization improving. Like, people that hadn't worked out before starting to work out and getting to share their own fitness goals. And it was cool. We were all just motivating each other. Even though it's at work, everything doesn't have to be about work. That's part of this increasing wellness for your team. So a weekly gratitude meeting or a weekly positive meeting like that is a very practical way that you can get more wellness for your team. You can start practicing more wellness. The other point of that is the leaders have to embody the characteristics that they want to see in their team. This is like the fitness example. Like, the leaders were fit and having wellness in their life. So their team started to pick that up and they started to embody those characteristics. If you're a leader and you show that you're stressed out all the time, you don't have wellness, you don't have work-life balance, whether your teammates know it or not, consciously or subconsciously, they start modeling that behavior. You're gonna have teammates that are also stressed, teammates that also don't have a lot of wellness. So embody the characteristics that you wanna see in your team. A third point that I think is important for this is, I've worked better in larger companies, which I've also worked for. They have employee resource groups a lot of the time. So, like, if your employees are into fitness, they should have a resource group where they can meet up and practice fitness things. If they have side hustles, like, they can meet up and talk about their side hustles outside of work, of course. But that's one great way that you can increase in wellness in your team. We're all people outside of work, so we all have hobbies, and the most important thing to get really the most benefit from those things is to do it in a network, to build relationships. So that's one way you can dramatically increase the wellness of your team. The last point I'll touch on is set up people's workday so that they have to move their bodies. people are not gonna have wellness unless they're moving their bodies. If someone is sitting at a desk for 8 to 10 hours a day like this, and then sitting in their car, driving home, then watching TV, they're not gonna be well, they're not gonna have health, and it leads to being unhappy as well. So do things like stand-up meetings. I sell standing desks, so I'm biased, like I think you should get ergonomic furniture. Not gonna push that on you, but I think it's really important. Have stand-up meetings, have walking meetings, like take a walk when you do one-on-ones. Stuff like that can really make a huge difference, not only to their health, but just overall well-being. So that's all I got for today, guys. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned for more content like this. Take care.